Okay, so we are here at 12:30-ish Winnipeg time, and as of right now, we have not agreed to put American booze back on the shelves. There are details being finalized by the Canadian and American negotiators. We fully support Team Canada. So right now, we haven't decided to put the booze back on the shelves, but hypothetically, let's say that there was a deal that the Prime Minister really recommended, and we decided to put the booze back on the shelves. What I would say to Canadians is leave it there. If we put the booze back on the shelves, don't buy it. Let it sit on the shelf where the liquor mart employees will be putting it, and buy the Canadian stuff instead. We've done an amazing job sticking together in the face of Donald Trump's tariff threats, and I think we should continue to do that. We're going to continue focusing on building up Churchill. We're going to continue focusing on encouraging local business, including our brewers and distillers. And let's send a message that even though the Prime Minister and the Government of Canada might think it's important for us to put things back on the shelf so that they can get this deal and help some of our fellow Canadians, some of their employers, some of their businesses, that we don't like Donald Trump's approach to trade or his way of treating Canada. You know, very wise people have said you can't get a good deal with a bad person. And I think that rule applies here. I mean, you know, President Trump is the reason we're all paying so much at the gas pump right now because of his misguided war in Iran. And I could go on and on and on about the Epstein files, and you know that I will. But realistically, this is a situation that we're in as Canadians. So we still have agency. We can still make the choice. We can still say Crown Royal is better than Jack Daniels.
Are there sticking points in the deal that would hold? It's holding up your decision.
Well, there's tariffs in the deal, and we have a big steel plant in Selkirk, Manitoba. Great employer, great people who go there each and every day, and I'd love the tariffs to be zero. That said, I think what we've been saying throughout is the doctrine. Some people are calling it a doctrine of no Kuzma, no boozma, and I think that condition has been satisfied. We do have Kuzma. In terms of what's on the table, what I've seen in the media has been accurate so far this morning. So Kuzma exemptions and then the process for Kuzma to continue, that's looking good. But again, what did we have 2 years ago before Trump? What did we have a year ago? What might we have when American elected representatives grow some backbone and stand up to a president who's raising the cost of living on their constituents? So again, I don't think it's hard to see where I'm coming from. I'm skeptical. I'm not, going to cheerlead things here, but at the same time, yeah, that's where we stand today.
What detail is still waiting to find out?
What is the rate of tariff on steel? What are the rates on aluminum? And pretty much anything that hasn't been leaked by the federal government to you, the media, so far, I would say.
They haven't told you anything about that?
Any other questions?
But you were briefed, but what were you told? You must have asked.
I was told by the Prime Minister that he wants us to put the booze back on the shelves.
Without giving you details?
They gave us some details, and other stuff they said they're still nailing down. So I wouldn't say that he was begging us, but what is a step before begging? So I get it from his perspective. Why does he want us to take the booze off the shelves? He's the one who got on the phone with Donald Trump, which, I don't think any of us want to be on the phone with Trump or in a photo with him. But there you go. Somebody has to do it. Thank you, Mark Carney, for doing it. And you can understand he got to a place where he can recommend a deal to Canadians. But I think for the rest of us, okay.
Is the Prime Minister saying to the provinces, if you don't put the booze back on the shelves, we won't have a signed deal by the end of the week?
Yeah, effectively. Yeah.
It sounds like you're not enthused at the process.
That's right.
Of putting the booze back in this house. But you
leave it there is when we put the American booze back on the liquor mart shelves, Canadians, leave it there. Spend your money on Canadian products that are going to employ people in our country and that have an administration that respects Canada.
This morning on CJOB, you said that if you were in charge of the country, you would fight more.
Yes.
Are you dissatisfied with the Carney's negotiations?
I think I've shared a very clear message with you all here today that I'd like you to print and run on your respective broadcasts.
How quickly can you get alcohol back on the trucks?
We can do it relatively quickly. Like, you're not going to see the full catalog, if you will, because labeling, for instance, they need to print labels with French on it. That'll take a few weeks. So it might take a few weeks for everything, but if we decide to move ahead, we could do that relatively quickly.
Do you
Within
expect,
a day or something? Or?
Within a few days, I'd say.
do you expect ultimately, sorry, do you expect ultimately that will be the decision that's made when a deal is potentially reached, that ultimately you will be putting the U.S., because it sounds like you're saying that you are preparing to do this eventually, you're just kind of waiting until, the deal is right for you?
No, the deal will not be right for me, I would expect. But it's not about me, it's about Team Canada. What we've been saying for the past year and a half since all this tariff nonsense started. So, my choice, whatever. Your choice is the most important thing. Your choice when you go to Liquor Mart, when you go to the LCBO and other provinces, your stores. Stick with Canada. We have labels on our shelves. You see a maple leaf, buy that. You see the stars and stripes, maybe keep browsing.
You had a one-on-one conversation with the Prime Minister, and what did you tell them?
I think I'll leave our conversations between the two of us.
With the deal, is it enough tariff relief? Is Canada giving up too much? Like, what's your main complaint?
I think we should fight. I think Donald Trump is very weak. I think America is weaker around the world today than it was a year ago. He's about to get slaughtered in the midterms, and the cost of living is the number one issue, and he is completely out of touch with the cost of living of Americans. I think we should fight. I think we've got the upper hand. They're back on their heels right now. They're coming to us for a deal, and so I think we should fight. Ben, je demande aux Manitobains, Manitobaines, oui, ça se peut qu'on va remettre les produits américains dans les magasins, mais je vous demande de les laisser là, dans le magasin.
Vous parliez du fait que en fait, Trump était dans une position de faiblesse en ce moment, est-ce que tu veux dire?
Oui, je pense que oui. Les États-Unis sont plus pauvres, ont plus de défis internationaux aujourd'hui à cause de leur président, et je pense qu'on devrait continuer de lutter pour nos intérêts canadiens.
Have you heard from your provincial or territorial counterparts about these discussions? Some still also have U.S. booze off the shelves. Have you heard anything from them?
Yes?
Want to elaborate on what
No.
you've heard?
I just want to be clear on what you're saying today. You're saying we have not decided to put booze back on the shelf yet, but
We're open to, well, what I've been saying
but you're
all
open to-
week
but you're open to
in
it.
the past few weeks, yeah.
you're open to it if it means we can get this deal done.
Well, the Prime Minister is asking us in a very, I don't know, he really wants us to do it.
But you're not keen to do it.
No.
So it's not going, so you haven't decided to actually do it, but you might. Is that, I want to be clear on what you're saying.
What I'm saying is I don't want you to write, we're putting U.S. booze back on the shelves in your headline.
No, I'm not, I get that part. But but you might.
We'll see.
Like, you will if the deal is signed and the Prime Minister asks you to.
He has asked us already.
So you want a better deal, essentially?
Yeah?
Prime Minister said to take a Team Canada approach. Are you concerned about Trump being disruptive on this solidarity approach of the premiers altogether pushing on this deal?
No?
And does this involve Tesla and other kind of American-specific deals being reversed?
So we have had language every time we go to tender something here in Manitoba since President Trump has launched these tariff attacks on us. We've had language saying preference to Canadian or non-U.S. So as part of this deal that the Prime Minister is asking, he's asking us to remove that as well too. That's had a huge impact, by the way. Year over year, 82% decline in Manitoba government spending on American firms. 82%. You can see why the Trump administration is coming to Canada and asking for a deal. We are in a position of strength. They are weak. They are getting beaten up. He's the least popular president ever because of the cost of living. So again, like, we can make these changes that the Prime Minister is asking, but who are we making this deal with? Do we expect that this is going to be the end of, like, Donald Trump is all of a sudden going to say, oh yeah, I'm not going to bug Canada again. We're going to say that Donald Trump is not going to change his word. He's not going to go back on his word. I think everybody, like, we can't predict what he's going to do, but I think everybody knows the American president by now. He's erratic, he's irresponsible, and he's not to be trusted. And this is a person that we were supposed to make a deal with, and we're going to make additional concessions for. That's why I say you can't make a good deal with a bad person. Because who's to say it's not going to be undone? So with that in mind, we reserve the right to take the U.S. booze off the shelves again.
Would you remove that line about?
Yes. Well, that would be part of what's on the table here. Yes. You're talking about the procurement line. Yeah, exactly.
There is, the Prime Minister, were you told to, were you given permission from the Prime Minister, to like blame him
Yes.
in case alcohol goes back? Are you okay with that? The blame?
He's the one who wants the booze back on the shelves. Like, I think it's pretty clear what we would do here in Manitoba were it not for the fact we're part of Team Canada and we want to work together with the Prime Minister, who I fully respect is the one standing up for Canada and is the one on the phone with President Trump. So I do feel that we have to respect that. But at the same time, do we have to go out and say this is the best deal ever? Do we have to cheerlead? Do we have to play to Donald Trump's ego? No, I don't think we do. I think we should point out how irresponsible he is along the way. And I think we should continue focusing on supporting Canadian products. So if you do see the American booze on the shelves, leave it there.
Premier, it seems like you've had a pretty good relationship with the Prime Minister. Since he came into office, he's been very supportive of development in Churchill, for example. Does it concern you at all to kind of go against his wishes and jeopardize that relationship?
Well, the booze might go back on the shelves. I'm just telling you to not buy it.
No, I know, but if the Prime Minister is asking and you're essentially saying we don't want to do that, are you concerned about that relationship in terms of the bigger picture and the collaborative work you're involved with the Prime Minister in right now?
No.
Just the timing, the clock is ticking. When would we make a decision on these final decision on booze?
I don't know.
So it's within the next day or two, or
Maybe.
before Saturday? Is that what required? What do you have to make a decision by?
Well, we don't have to do anything.
No, but the question is,
I don't know.
the question is putting back alcohol on shelves or agreeing to do so eventually, is that a condition for the
Yes.
agreement to be signed?
Yes.
So you have
All
1 day.
the stuff the Americans, from what I understand, are focused on are things that the province have done to stand up for Canada. And so I get it. The federal government is the one there at the negotiating table, but the real stuff that the Americans want changed are how we've been reducing the procurement money that we spend on American firms and the alcohol. So again, if we put the booze back on the shelves, I think you should leave it there as a consumer, and we might change the language in our procurement rules and then be like, oh, maybe we'll just continue buying Canadian anyways.
But you have until Saturday to decide to do so, right?
Well, we're supposed to hear details on what the agreement is. I don't think I'm commenting on anything that hasn't already been leaked by the federal government or shared by other premiers. So those details remain to be shared with us.
So you still need to hear more details of the deal before you decide what to do with the booze? Is that,
Yeah.
okay?
No, I think other premiers have said.
Yeah, no,
the same
I'm just
thing.
trying to be clear. Just trying to be clear.
Yeah, I agree. That's correct.
Do you have another meeting today, tomorrow, in regards to the deal and the final points?
I don't know.
Nothing planned?
Well, yesterday's meeting came together very quickly, for instance, like within a few hours. So.
Est-ce que tu peux me revenir sur
Oui.
combien de temps ça prendrait pour l'alcool de revenir sur les tablettes au Manitoba, puis le rôle du français dans ce délai-là?
Ben, peut-être quelques journées, juste pour recommencer les ventes, mais la question des nouvelles commandes des compagnies américaines, Ça se peut quelques semaines, quelques mois, à cause du fait qu'ils doivent recommencer le processus d'inclure le français dans leurs produits.
How have the sales of American liquor, some of that has already returned to shelves for charity. What do you know about the sales and how it's gone?
Well, some of it we can't sell, so we probably won't be reordering that stuff. I can tell you in Alberta, where they gave in right away and started selling the American booze, I think in the first year it was down 60%. Second year it was down 30%. You know, these are rough approximations of numbers. So I would just encourage Canadians to continue buying Canada. We've seen a big increase in support for local brewers, local distillers. We've seen a big increase for Canadian products generally. Let's keep doing that. Let's keep supporting Canada.
Have you pushed for anything from the Prime Minister in return for making these concessions?
I think the support for workers, support for people like at the Gerdau steel plant is going to be necessary.
And in terms of you said fight more, what makes you think that a better deal or better terms could be achieved than what the Prime Minister and their team have achieved?
Well, Iran has bloodied Trump's nose already, and they're coming crawling to us asking for us to include their American firms in procurement and to put the booze back on the shelves. So to me, that's weak. American president is weak. He's threatening us, and I think if we kept pushing, I think that we'd probably get more.
Are you concerned we're losing our leverage if we give up on the alcohol?
Well, where is our leverage going to be now? Right? Like we're going to get a Kuzma process, which means this negotiation is going to lead to more negotiations. With who? A good person on the other side of the table? And then what's going to happen in those negotiations, right? So we do need leverage. I just think that, yeah, it's an interesting situation to be in because Team Canada, right? We do get strength from being unified here together, so maybe we'll make this move together. But I think Canadians should be clear-eyed about what we're going into here and about the significance of this. And you know what? Like, fully respect the Prime Minister, fully respect his mandate, but I do think it's really notable that it's the provincial actions on procurement and alcohol sales that have commanded the attention of the American administration. So, something to keep an eye on as we go forward.
Why do you think this is so important to Trump in these discussions?
Well, he's getting handed L's everywhere he turns, so he's got to try and do something, right? So, like, when does this stuff happen? Iran started when he was getting clobbered on the Epstein files, and then he laid this threat when he's getting clobbered domestically on the cost of living. So he's always trying to change the channel, and on this stuff, yeah, I guess we're taking advantage of the fact he's paying attention to Canada, but I just wonder if accepting the idea that Trump tariffs are here forever is the move where we wanted to give up some of that leverage that we've had up to now.
You and some other premiers aren't. Let's say you're not happy with it. If you learn more details and you're not happy with it because you don't sound happy.
I'm trying to sound
I know, but
positive.
are you willing to risk 50% tariffs to, as you say, keep fighting?
It's hypothetical, so
But you say
we'll
keep
see
fighting.
what's in front of us.
You say keep fighting.
I do.
And we're days away from another threat, and we know what these threats, sometimes they happen, sometimes they don't.
Taco.
Yeah. I
Taco
know,
Tuesday,
I know.
everybody saw that.
But are you willing to keep fighting if it means short or medium term dealing with 50% tariffs on a number of goods?
Well, what changed? That was the calculus when we brought these moves in. What changed is what I say, right? Like, we didn't think Americans or that Trump was going to love it when we took booze off the shelves. We didn't think that they were going to love it when we said we're going to prefer our own firms over yours, right? So I think through this whole trade dispute, which he picked the fight, by the way, all the way up to now, we've been okay with, yeah, we might be sacrificing a little now for the bigger picture of national security, economic interests, and things like that. So again, yeah, everybody has been reporting on these August 19th deadlines, now the Friday deadlines, and it gets worked up, and oh, what's the deal going to be? But at the end of the day, like, what changed? Donald Trump, you know, rolled out of bed one day, got on the True Social machine, and then said, picked a random deadline? Okay. And then what? We're giving up our leverage for what in return? His imaginary tariffs are not going to materialize, and then the existing tariffs, which were illegal in the first place and raising the price of living for Americans and Canadians, he's not going to impact those. His number one political liability? I don't know.
So are you willing to risk 50% tariffs to get a better deal?
I think we could keep pushing. I think we could.
What if his imaginary tariffs aren't imaginary and they are imposed, and then will you be the...
Who's the one who said, who's the person who said, what if anything? What if a bomb falls on your head right now? Like, right? So, I mean, call his bluff.
Any other questions?
And what kind of supports would you like to see for the Selkirk steel plant? You mentioned that would be something you'd like.
Yeah, I think help for workers, first and foremost, right? Nobody should be losing jobs right now just because you got an egomaniac in the White House. And I say that on either side of the border. And then if they're going to be retooling, whether it's Selkirk, not just the one facility, but anyone in the steel industry, if they're going to be retooling, there should be some supports for that as well, too.
Is the province willing to step up with supports too?
We have been, yeah, every step of the way here, whether it's tax deferrals or direct assistance, things like that, procurement, shifting money away from the U.S. firms towards Canadian ones. So we'll continue that. Yeah, we'll continue that.
Sorry, new topic. Today in your monthly sit-down with CGOB Radio, you talked about the bus passes for students in Winnipeg. It's going to be staggered. Can you explain it? Will that be weekly and how the rollout will happen?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen week by week. More and more students will be getting the bus passes, and this is just at the request of the people who run transit so that they can accommodate this new program.
Will it start with the younger grades first, like grade 9 and 10?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But kids will find out as a school, go back to school, you'll find out how the bus passes are going to be distributed. But that will start in September when classes start.
Okay. And just, we learned that there's been an exodus of some shared health leadership, top leaders. And I remember when you were in opposition, your health minister said that this shakes public health confidence. What can you say about why those executives left and what it means for healthcare and shared health operations?
Can you show me what shared health does on a given day? Like, could we go somewhere and see it happen?
So
we removed 8% of the senior management at Shared Health in our first full year in office, and no one noticed.
So Ken Clausen and Georgina Belcher.
I'm not going to talk about individual people.
Do you have a new number? Do you have a new target right now in terms of cuts?
We make investments in healthcare. 4,725 more people working on the front lines. Number one question any self-respecting skeptical journalist would ask when we announce a big hiring like that is, how are you going to pay for it? Well, we're taking resources from areas that don't affect patients and investing it in the nurse at the bedside, in the physician that
How
cares
much
for
are
you.
you moving away from the executive level?
Well, if you look at our budget, each year in office, we've invested an additional $1 billion in healthcare. And we're on track to do the same again next year. So if you're looking at investments in the healthcare system, every year, historic increases.
So are those executives not being replaced then, the ones that...
I can't talk about individual people.
Well, no, but you just said that the money was going to be redirected to health services. So is that...
It's a general comment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Do you have a one-on-one with the Prime Minister on the trade?
I did answer that earlier. I'm not going
You
to answer
said
it
you
a
were gonna
second
say
time.
over conscience, but can you confirm you had one or you have one scheduled? Just the basic.
Can I? I suppose I could. Will I? Probably not.
Other premiers have confirmed it.
Yeah. Other premiers are super excited. Some are like, maybe not as excited. Me, I'm willing to play the part with Team Canada, but yeah, I think it's pretty clear how I feel about the offer on the table.
And just looking back to the bus passes, are you concerned that any of the kids who want them won't be able to get them just because of the funding cutoff that the city's imposed?
No, because I think we'll make accommodations if there's an urgent situation, like if somebody's got, I don't know, football starts right at the beginning of the school year, so maybe somebody really needs to be able to get there for football practice. I'm sure we'll make sure that there's accommodations for them. Or there's an urgent family situation, the ride's not working that usually you depend on it to get to school. I'm sure there'll be an accommodation.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Thank you so much.